All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Miami Collins Show. I'm your host, Jane Gonzalez. And happy Thursday, everyone. Today's a big day, and just in sports in general. Playoff baseball, a lot of stuff going on. As we get ready, we get more prepared for FSU week, which is it's here. It's here. The rivalry's here. It's nice to be back in state. Miami looking for the back-to-back years for the Florida Cup. Miami looking for another year of dominance over their in-state rivals between UF, Miami, USF, and whoever else they play in the state of Florida. And they look to continue that kind of dominance. And I feel good. I feel ready. Hoping you guys feel the same right now about this FSU game. Despite the FSU loss, which I said to watch out for last week, I specifically said, hey, this FSU team, it's not an easy game against UVA. I said UVA has a good offense. They showed it, put up 46 points in a double overtime victory over FSU, which we'll get into later. But yeah, no show on Monday, so I kind of want to talk a little bit about kind of the game or what went wrong for FSU and what Miami can look to do as we get ready for the game on Saturday. And then I want to hear you guys' thoughts. So, we'll start simple with that FSU game that was 46 38 loss in 46-38 loss in double overtime. Just a crazy wild game. UVA had a big lead to start. Slowly, FSU came back. FSU has shown, and they're going to continue to show it at least throughout this beginning of this year, that their offense has shown that they're legit at the moment. They're currently averaging over 600 yards per game, despite two of them being against East Texas A&M and Kent State. Just something to keep in mind. But regardless, they're still a respectable team that you have to like. Their offense is still playing that they've showed has been incredible. So you have to be very proud and very happy with where they are as a team. So for Miami, it's all about, can you control the run? Can you stop the run? Can you control who they have? Whether that's Gavin Sawchuk or whether that's Tommy Castellanos. Castellanos has been running the ball a lot. He's been running the ball. That's who he is as a player. It's who he was at BC. It's who he is right now at FSU in the Gus Malzahn system. Against UVA, he ran for 78 yards, was their leading rusher, had a touchdown. This season, his numbers have kind of replicated that. He has averaged, he had 250 yards passing, 78 yards rushing, has 217 yards rushing total, has 848 yards passing, has 8 total touchdowns, 4 rushing, 4 passing, 3 picks. So a lot of here and there. He, reminds me similar to the way that Byron Brown, is a dual threat guy. Tommy Castellanos is another one. He's a dual threat guy that Miami's going to have to play a lot of QB spy on. They're going to have to do a lot of watching, looking around, seeing if he ever takes off, because he will. He has a deep arm. He has a very strong arm. He has one main target, and that's kind of what their system is based on, of a lot of really explosive plays. They're showing it with their through the run, but they also have a lot of deep plays. They have a lot of quick touchdowns, quick scoring. They showed against UVA, and they showed against every other opponent so far this season, which is really held, by Deuce Robinson, who against UVA had 9 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Their offense was played nuts on Friday. You cannot blame their offense for losing. Had 514 total yards of offense. If you want to say anything about why they lost, well, 3 turnovers as a team, I believe, offensively. 2 picks and a fumble. Defensively, also, the defense forced 3 turnovers, but allowed 211 yards rushing and 229 yards passing to a very solid and respectable UVA offense. But when you just look at that game alone, there are concerns for sure from that FSU defense that Miami can easily take control over. The first thought I think of right away is, the how can FSU stop the run? That's kind of scary if you're a FSU fan. When Jamari Taylor had 27 carries, 99 yards, and a touchdown, Xavier Brown had 9 carries for 60 yards, and you let Chandler Morris get 3 touchdowns on his own. That's something to be concerned about when Miami has, and what we've been talking about forever, one of the best offensive lines in college football. I'd say the best right now, with the way that they've been playing, with the way they've let Carson Beck do his thing, basically not get pressured at all. How they find the holes for Marty Brown and Mark Fletcher, and how dominant those two have been all season long. It's going to be a huge key to the game for Miami if they want to win, which we'll talk about. I'll talk about in a second. But I think overall for Miami, you watch what FSU did on Friday, and it was a good litmus test for them because you don't know what you don't know anything. You have to give them credit for that Bama win. That's a big win that they had at home against a good Bama team, who we just showed that Bama is still pretty good. Beat Georgia in Athens. Crazy, it's a great game as well. Obviously, East Texas A&M and Kent State kind of throw it out the window. But then you look at UVA, a game they lost, a game they did not win, lost in double overtime. And you look at that and you're saying, wow, this FSU team very vulnerable still. Obviously, I mean, if anything, I would say a loss from FSU kind of scares me a little bit more as a Miami fan because they're going to be playing desperate. They're going to be playing hungry. They know that they get a home game against a Miami team that obviously in every rivalry game, these games are going to be close. They're going to be grind. They're going to be a grind to win. They're going to be a tough one no matter who you are, no matter how good Miami or FSU is on any given year. They're going to be close. I believe the stat is since 2022, I think 32 games have been one-score finishes between Miami and FSU. So they're always going to play close. It's always going to be a very good game. 7:30 primetime at Doak, which I've been to Doak. It's a hostile environment. It's a very good environment. They have a great crowd. You have to be prepared for it. I'm sure Miami is. This is not anything new to them that they've gone, but it is new to them this season as this is their first road game, first road test of the year, and it's against a top 20 team, a team that was in the top 10 just last week and then dropped 10 spots. So you have to look at that from a lot of different aspects for Miami that they should win this game, but because it's a rivalry game, because of all these, there are a lot of factors surrounding this game, potential weather concerns. Anything can happen in this game, and you have to be aware of what FSU has. They have talent. They have the weapons. They've showed statistically, again, just statistics based, they average 600 yards per game. Now, are they going to score? They're going to put on 600 yards on that Miami defense? No, not at all. They're not going to put on 300 yards rushing like they have in the first few weeks. It's just not going to happen. Miami has statistically a top 10 rushing defense, spearheaded by Ruben Bain and Mesidor. And I don't expect that to change. I don't expect any of that to change. I don't expect Miami to just be significantly worse. I don't expect them to look any different than they need to. With the bye week, if anything, it will help them. Miami gets over 2 weeks of preparation for this game. That will help them a ton. A lot of things that do go in Miami's way, other than the fact that they have to travel up to Sally for this game, and that FSU is hungry. They're a little bit desperate after a loss like that. But I would say for Miami, let me talk to my keys to the game for Miami, and then I'll hear from you guys because I do want to hear you guys' thoughts. It's a heated rivalry. It's a game that we all want to watch. It's a game that we've been waiting for. It's been circled on our calendar for a while. In my opinion, the third, probably the last big game Miami plays for the rest of the season, until maybe the end of the season. I can't name you a bigger game for the rest of the season than this one. So I think this is a game that you got to win. Being 3-0 against Notre Dame, UF, and FSU is an incredible look on the program, and it would just be huge to win. So my keys to the game, first thought, you got to stifle the run. If you can neutralize Tommy Castellanos' ability to run the same way that they did with Byron Brown, the same way they did with DJ Lagway and with CJ Carr. CJ Carr actually ran pretty well. If they can limit the way that Byron Brown ran and the way that DJ Lagway ran, you can limit that. Force them to throw, force them into some tough pockets, pressure them, contain them. Do not let them get out of the pocket. Do not let them make a big play. If you can contain them and you can kind of take away a full aspect of who they are as a team, FSU's identity to begin the season has been the run. If you can hold the run with your currently top 10 statistically ranked defensive line, which I think is better than that, they can easily, that's a whole thing that can take, can even take away from FSU. And it would force Castellanos to go for a lot of deep shots. Again, Deuce Robinson's a big body. He's a 6'6" receiver with a wide frame. So that's a guy that you have to be expecting that Castellanos throws the ball to. There's a lot for Miami to be working with there. So FSU wins on the run, and Bain and Mesidor have to lead the way for Miami. The second one, to me, probably what they've been able to do all season long, control the clock. They have to control the clock the same way they have been looking. Fletcher and Brown, I've been talking about them forever. They look amazing. They dominated UF, absolutely obliterated them, made them look silly for the entirety of the game. Marty Brown in the passing game, Fletcher downhill. Both of them looked awesome. Marty Brown should have had another 50 yards on his already amazing game. They had 196 yards rushing, average 180. They're going to continue to do that. Let them go. Let Shannon Dawson. If Shannon Dawson can early on just pound the ball, control the clock, control what they, basically handle their own brand of football, it makes Beck's job a whole lot easier. And the one thing that I've noticed is that FSU's got a very explosive offense. Miami is a very controlling offense. Miami plays man football, very physical football. If Miami has all these drives where they're taking a lot of time off the clock, and FSU maybe scores on a 3-play drive, FSU's defense is going to be on the field a lot, assuming that is the way that the game turns out. No idea how it will turn out, but say the game can turn out like that, FSU's defense is going to be on the field a lot more, and it can only benefit Miami to continue what they're doing in terms of making the right plays and making the right throws. And then the last one, which has kind of been what we've seen from Beck over the last couple of weeks, he's looked good, not great. Obviously, UF was easily his worst game. I thought he was very good in Notre Dame. I need him to just be the same player that he's been. If we can get the Beck that we got in Notre Dame, I have no worry that Miami can probably win this game. But it's going to be good. It's going to be a close one, and I think that Miami has obviously the tools. They have all the abilities, of course, to win this game. The number 3 team in the country. Road test in Doak. It's a huge test for Mario to prove. I mean, there are doubters, not that many currently, but there are doubters that see Miami as a fraudulent team, that they're going to kind of the number one thing you hear is they don't trust Miami because of past history, which is fair. Mario Cristobal over the last couple years of his Miami tenure loses the small games, or he loses games that he should win. There's always something in your mind where you're saying he's not putting these guys away, or he's kind of letting them into the game. It could damage us. You look at Georgia Tech in 2023. You look at Syracuse and Georgia Tech last year. This year, he let UF kind of in this game for a while, but it was still a rivalry game. It was still in the rain. It was still a game that Miami overall dominated for the most part, right? Notre Dame, they're another ranked team, another rivalry game. You can't necessarily blame Mario for playing. They played a great game of football in both those games. So their offense and their defense, they look incredible. The question is, Miami's biggest concern is themselves. If they can stop with some of the, they have dumb mistakes sometimes. They make dumb things over the course of, of what the last few years of Miami has been, of just some dumb mistakes where they get in their own way. If Miami can just stay out of their own way and play the games they need to play what's on the schedule, don't look ahead to anything, play week by week, go 1-0 every week, and just play that man football. I think Corey Heatherman's defense has shown that with the way that they play. They're all bought in on that defense. They look physical. They look violent. They look really strong in all aspects. I love the way that Corey Heatherman defense looks. He's been nuts. He's been incredible. Shannon Dawson, I already know that he's already getting offers for maybe job interviews. But he's focused on this season right now, and the main point for him is to continue to keep that offense going. And with the way that Fletcher and Marty Brown have played, which doesn't even include Jordan Lyle, who is currently the RB3, who will likely play on Saturday, doesn't really include JoJo Trader, who's been hurt a little bit, doesn't even include some of these guys or the receivers that didn't get a lot of action last week. Miami's got so much talent, so many tools, best offensive line, best defensive line, elite talent everywhere. They should be able to control this game and kind of dominate from start to finish if they, with that physical man football. If they play to that kind of brand football every single, drive of dominating, getting 5 yards of carry sometimes on these drives, and then finishing on, with like a 7-minute drive, that's a recipe for success for Miami. There's a lot more avenues for Miami to win this game than for FSU to win this game. But FSU is clearly talented, and they clearly have a more than a puncher's chance to win this game. They have a legitimate shot. It's a rivalry game, and you have to always remember that it's a rivalry game. Always kind of have that in your mind at the end of the day. But that's enough of me right now. I want to hear what you guys have to say. To many people listening right now. So I'm going to post the link in the chat right now for whoever wants to join, talk, whatever's on your mind, how you guys are feeling on this game. I know rivalry games always are at the top of people's minds. So I want to hear what you guys are thinking right away, and how you guys feel. I know it's we have a couple more days till Saturday. I've been itching for Miami football. That bye week was needed. I needed that reset, but I'm itching for some Miami football, and it absolutely sucks. What a killer schedule they have, that they have to go on a bye right after this. I want to beat FSU, and then I want to play Louisville right after. It sucks that it's Miami, and then Miami. It's by FSU by, and I think that's a criminal schedule because then they play a billion games from October to the end of November, and it's that sucks. That bothers me, but got to play what's on your schedule. You know, one thing that you can easily look at from the fact of FSU is they have 2 Power 4 games total in their 4 games. Miami, and one of them's a loss. And for Miami, it's 3 Power 4 games. 2 of them ranked opponents. 1 ranked at the beginning of the preseason. Well, yeah, because USF was ranked when we beat them. They're currently out on the outside looking into the AP poll. UF, they're obviously the season's a disaster, but still a rivalry game. It's still a game that of a team with talent and success. So Miami has proven it. Miami is the best resume still on the schedule. They've showed the part, and this is just another one. And a win like this, if Miami wins in dominant fashion, you could see Miami moving up to maybe number 1 in the AP poll. That's how good they look right now. They look the part of a top 3 team in the country. They look the part of being better than every SEC team in the country because every SEC team is starting to beat every other SEC team where they're all kind of really even with each other. So for Miami, when you're looking at the ACC, apart from Miami and I would say FSU, I think FSU is still very, very talented. Georgia Tech, who we don't play this year, it's looking bleak in terms of the rest of the ACC. So when you look at that ACC schedule, you look at who's there, you look at who's kind of there for Miami, there's not a lot going on rest of the season. So a win against FSU kind of sets everything straight when you say, all right, well, what's your resume? And you look up and you see 3 top 25 wins, an SEC win, and, a top G5 win. I think they have all these tools. They have like anything possible. You make a great point, Jacoby. I think the defensive line is probably the key to the game. If they can control the run, the defensive line and the linebackers can control the run, can limit FSU to hell, even under 150 yards rushing, something like that. Miami is a legitimate shot because that would force Castellanos to be throwing the ball more. It forces him to have to have a lot of third and long plays. And Miami's defense has shown that they can stop anyone on these plays so far. And then in terms of the pass rush, I mean, the way that Ruben Bain looks incredible. The way that Hakeem Mesidor looks incredible. David Blay, Ahmed Moten, Armando Blunt, Marquise Lightfoot. I can name all the guys right now. They look incredible and they look really talented. If they continue to play, if they play their brand of football that they've shown at the beginning of the season, I see no problem with it. I mean, we can even look back at the UF game. Obviously, UF, their season is a disaster, but they are still talented. I don't know if a lot of people know that UF, a lot of their fans were talking about how good their offensive line was. They had a 0.2 pass blocking grade against Miami, which is the worst in college football since 2020. Bain had 22. Bain and Mesidor have been incredible. Bain had 10 pressures in that game, 7 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. Like, he was the highest grade defender in that week because that's how good he is, and I think that's how valuable Bain is to the team. And I think that it tells the story of who Miami is as an identity, what their identity has shown this year, that they've been that talented in the defensive line, that talented in the offensive line. And for the most of, I don't know, it's kind of one of the most overlooked things in college football. The fact that if you have an elite defensive and offensive line, you control the line of scrimmage. That's a huge aspect of the game. You control the clock, you control the big moments, you control all these kind of things. And like these guys had issues. Like FSU's not. You have had a ton of issues the entire game against Miami's pass rush. Notre Dame had a ton of issues against Miami's pass rush. USF obviously did. They all looked lost against Bain and Mesidor in the pass rush. If they continue to do that, obviously FSU is talented. They have a good offensive line. Is it as good as Miami? No. Will it stop Bain and Mesidor? Probably not. But if they continue to limit them, make the defensive backs jobs easier, because I do think they're going to probably have to double team Deuce Robinson, because if you look at FSU's receiver yards wise, it's like Deuce Robinson's at like 300, and then everyone else is all the way lower. So Deuce Robinson's their main target, the main guy they like, the main guy they look at pretty much every play in the pass. And then the run, they got a ton of guys. They got Gavin Sawchuk. Castellanos was the team's leading rusher against UVA. Usman Kroma had 63 yards himself. They were running the ball a ton. They had, between those three guys alone, it was 43 rushes, which is just nuts. And they ran for, combined, they almost ran for 200 yards between those three guys. So that's who they are. They're a very good running team. They're a very talented running team. That's been their identity this season. And one thing that has kind of been mentioned, which I do trust a lot, Gus Malzahn, the offensive coordinator for FSU, former Auburn offensive coordinator. One thing about him, he's very predictable in theory. A lot of the plays that he calls, a lot of the things that he calls has been very similar to the plays that he not only called at the beginning of the season, like there was a couple plays against UVA that Gus Malzahn called against Bama. He's very repetitive in his plays, and if a lot of them work, he's going to continue to call them. Very respectable move or whatever. But if over time, if Miami starts to pick up on some of these plays, they pick up on the cadence, they pick up on some of these reads, once you figure out a Gus Malzahn offense, the rest is easy for them. The defense for Miami could just fly. They could just handle everything, control everything. And I keep saying it, if the defense makes all they have to do, all the offense has to do is control the ball, control the ball, control the ball. Against UF, Miami's best drives were just running the ball. It's just run, run, run. It was, fourth quarter, you have a 6-point lead. Your momentum's kind of lost. All right, what do? You go on an 8-minute drive that has a billion runs and is capped off by a Marty Brown touchdown, because that's who they are. That's who Miami is. Their identity right now is a physical man football kind of, we're going to dominate the trenches. We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage, and there's nothing you can do about it. If they figure out Gus Malzahn's system early on in this game or at some point in this game, the other benefit is if Miami has a lead, this is probably the biggest thing for Miami, which makes them probably miles better than the rest of a lot of the other teams in the country. In the fourth quarter, if Miami has a lead and Miami has the ball, you can just trust upon 3 running backs, Marty Brown, Mark Fletcher Jr., Jordan Lyle, and 5 offensive linemen, and just tell them control the game. And they showed that against UF. They showed that against Notre Dame. They showed that against USF. In their 3 games this season, in 3 games against Power 4/Group of 5 schools, they showed that. They absolutely showed that. They've showed that they can dominate in that way, that they can dominate the run. They can dominate when you need to at the biggest, at the brightest moments, despite the fact that Miami's entering into a super hostile environment in Doak Stadium, whatever. They have, Miami's going to have to, if Miami has a lead with, some amount of time left and they have the ball, I trust them with every aspect. I trust them. I trust Beck. I trust that run game. I trust them all to just handle themselves and just kind of salt away the game for the rest of the game. And I think that's probably the most, that feels good. It feels good to know as a fan where you're like, okay, I need a 10-minute drive. There's 10 minutes left in the game. We have the ball. I need a touchdown drive. And Miami says, all right, let me give you a 6-minute drive that is run heavy, that is, physical, that is do this, do that, and they control the game. So that's who they are. And I think that is what Miami can prove against FSU. And if over time they do that for the entire game, if FSU's defense gets tired, Miami should be able to lead the way with a bunch of running backs and a bunch of, just great football, really, really physical football that is almost reminiscent of Service Academy. If they can just do that, I have no, there's no way, nothing is wavering me against FSU. So I fully trust them. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way, that from watching these guys over the first 4 weeks, they just look dominant in the run game. They look that good in the trenches. The offensive line has played their part. Beck just does not get pressured all that much. And the defensive line has just been unbelievable. So if that continues, if that is a trend that continues for Miami, I have no reason to believe that Miami loses this game. And I mean, Slug Bruce, that's kind of the way that I'm talking right now. Of course, obviously very biased because, but it sounds like you could see a 42-13 game. I could see it. However, I'm not going to say that because Miami and FSU always play close. They're always going to be tough. They're always going to be a very close game. They're going to be a very tight game, very tough. It's going to come down to the wire more likely than not. And for Miami, it's, can they control the clock? Can they do what they need to do and make the right plays to win the game? I mean, you can even look at we can look at the past history between these games. The last close game was 2 years ago in Doak. This was FSU's, that 12-0 undefeated season where they didn't get into the CFP. Emory Williams was the quarterback. He makes that incredible dive for the first down, gets hurt, puts his life on the line. TVD comes in, throws a pick right away. That game where Miami was just did not match up at all to FSU in any aspect. They did not match up to that FSU team. FSU had a Jordan Travis who was playing at a Heisman level, Keon Coleman, they had Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, and Miami got them within 7 the entire game. Had them they made FSU's offense look really poor. Their defense held pretty well. They even had Trey Benson on the team. The FSU team was very good. It was a very good FSU team, and Miami took them the distance. Lost by 7 with Emory Williams at quarterback. So Miami's not afraid of Doak. They're not afraid of Doak. I believe Miami actually has a winning record at Doak. Could be a mistake. They're 16-12 at Doak. They're 5-5 in the last 10 matchups between each other. So these are close games always. These games go back and forth a lot of times. It's going to be another one like that. And FSU's playing desperate. They're playing hungry. They're playing with something. They're playing with a we got nothing to lose mentality after having a 3-9 season last year. They're saying to themselves, well, we don't want another 3-9 season, but we believe that we're a really talented team that can make the playoffs. And to show that, you have to make a statement win. And if there was a game they could have a statement win on, it'd be this one. So for Miami's sake, for Miami's purposes, they got to make sure it doesn't happen. They got to play their brand of football and lead the way for the entirety of it. And yeah, I guess I'll keep posting the link in the chat if anyone guys wants to talk about. Oh yeah, 2-10. My bad, not 3-9. It was bad. It was a terrible year for FSU last year, and we showed it. We dominated them last year at UM. If no one else has anything to say, I want to hear you guys' score predictions as well. That's the other thing, because I'm leaning right now. I haven't really made up my mind on it, but depends on the weather. I saw rain in the forecast. Not totally sure. It's from Florida. I'm thinking 27-21 Miami. I think it will come close. I think it will be a back and forth game again. I think Miami has a pretty good lead, like some 2-score lead. FSU comes right back into it. They go back and forth, and then Miami has a last-minute drive to end the game, score a touchdown, do what they need to do to be successful, and they score, and then they stop on defense. So I trust in them. I trust in their plan. I trust who they are. And we're bringing on a recurring guest. It is Caden. How you doing, Caden?
Jaden, my dog, what is going on, my man?
How you doing?
You should already know why I'm here tonight, buddy. You should know why I'm here.
How you feeling?
How am I feeling? Y'all are killing it. And this Saturday, Florida State is just another stepping stone for the Canes from the 305, baby.
All right. I like it. What are you thinking score prediction wise? Let me hear that.
Score prediction?
Yeah.
Come on, Jaden. As a brother whose program won multiple blowout games, this is just another blowout game for you boys. 49-10.
49-10.
No
That's
questions
crazy.
asked.
That's crazy. I don't know about that.
I think Miami can do it. Their defense is going to step up. Carson Beck's just going to get comfy. He's just going to whip Florida State. And you know what? This is another stepping stone for the Canes. I'm just being straight up honest with you. Straight up honest with you.
All right. Look, I like it. I liked it a lot. I think that Miami has the tools for it. Look, I don't know about 49-10 is crazy. Miami's defense is good and their offense they didn't look great against UF, but their run game was awesome. If they control the game, they do what they need to do, that they've been doing.
The run game against Florida, they were just taking it light on Florida. They were just playing light ball. Come on now. Look, they got their plans. Come on, man.
The passing game did not look strong. Beck had 2 picks. He did not look great. UF is a good team. It was raining, whatever. But they have a bye week. They had a reset. They had a rest. I trust in Miami that they can kind of bounce back more or less on the passing front. In the run game, I have no faith that they can continue to do the same thing. The passing game, I need to see that it goes back to kind of what it was, against Notre Dame and against USF. They do that. I got no worries about their offense. But no matter what, FSU's a rival. It's going to be a good game, and I think that they're desperate. I think an FSU coming off a loss is a desperate team. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And isn't it at home?
In Tallahassee.
Man, just another the road game? You gotta be kidding me. Road games, okay, some of them may be tough, but when you're a team that's got a lot of talent, especially on that offense and defensive side of the ball, like Ohio State, you already know you're gonna be prepared to ready to roll to go into the game. Like we took Ohio State took a week off, and then we went to Washington and absolutely beat the brakes off them. 24-6. Yeah. Oh, that wasn't a pretty game. We got the job done.
I thought you guys were going to lose, truthfully. I'll be honest. I had some concerns with them. That I thought Washington was a good team. But you guys proved me wrong. Ohio State looks really solid. But
here's one thing that hasn't been proved wrong. 0-2 BS call.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that Miami's got. I think it being in Tallahassee kind of hurts it. This is Miami's also first road game of the year. There's a lot of things that, going in Miami.
Hold on, Jaden, hold on, man. I think we got a Michigan fan in the building here.
Wait, what are you seeing here?
David Portnoy.
That is not Dave Portnoy. I can promise you that. But I don't. I know where he's coming from when people say this, because Miami's kind of shown that the last couple of years. I'm hoping this year is different, and there's no reason. It's just based on vibes that I'm hoping this year is different. Their team is better than they've been. This is Miami's best team they fielded since 2017, at least. This is their most talented team they fielded since 2017. This is their best team they fielded in years. So will he blow 2 games this year? Probably not. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he won't. A lot of haters are gonna say that. They're gonna say that all the time. There's nothing you can do about it. But other than let the games speak for themselves, let Miami speak for themselves about who they are as a team. I trust them. I trust Miami. They've shown to me that they can trust. I can trust them against good opponents. Notre Dame, UF. We'll see what he does on Saturday against FSU.
And to one other question that was asked, is Miami back? I know that U is back. The U is back, and they ain't playing around. And as I know Reptitude from what's that guy's name? Somebody's about to die at the hands of the Canes, and I gangsta know it's gonna be Florida State. Florida State, you've got some hungry bad boys coming your way. They're about to kick the living crap out of y'all boys. And these boys ain't fooling around. These boys from the 305 are some mean boys that are ready to eat. And as the quote says that I know, if you cannot hang, if you cannot run, and you cannot walk with the big dogs, then sit down back on the porch with the rest of the puppies. Because this is big boy business. You should already know that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, you got anything else for me before, whatever?
I got one more. It's all about the you. It's all about the you. It's all about the you. Okay, we'll see you guys in the playoffs. Let's make it happen.
I hope so, Caden. I appreciate the call.
Go Canes and go Bucks.
Okay. As always, thank you, Caden, for tuning in. Recurring guest as always. Yeah, I don't know if Miami's going to win by a lot. I don't know if Miami's going to win. I think Miami's going to win. I think it's going to be a close one. I do want to hear what you guys think because I think it's tough. Sluggers, I didn't see yours. 42-13. I think it's fair. I see it. I can see a world where Miami has a lot more avenues to win this game by blowout. FSU likely does not at all. If FSU were to win this game, it would be by a lot of self-inflicted wounds for Miami. It would be from a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, a lot of certain things that would affect them, or certain dumb plays, maybe a pick or two from Beck, a lot of turnovers, sloppy play. It'd be a lot of that. It wouldn't be a perfect game for Miami. I think if Miami plays a perfect game, which is a dream as always, they would have no problem taking down FSU. And that's just based off of what we've seen from them. They've shown to us that they're talented. They've shown to us that they're playing at a caliber of number 3 team in the country. And I think they just got to keep proving that to the rest of the nation. And I think that's kind of the key to the game, to the season for Miami overall. And you can look at it for the rest of the season where you have Stanford, who looks terrible, Syracuse, who just got blown out by Duke, NC State, who they're 3-1. They look fine. They actually look like one of our better opponents. Louisville, who is good and bad at the same time. They went out in a dogfight with Pitt, which I don't even know if they won. I think they won. They did win by 7 against Pitt, which is just a dogfight of a game. They almost lost that. They have Pitt to end the season, who is 2-2. They look okay. And Vatek, who looks terrible. So rest of the season for Miami, SMU as well, who's not as good as last year, but still a pretty quality team that they have to go on the road for. So Miami, in terms of opponents, rest of the season, this is Miami's toughest. For the rest of the season, I wouldn't call it a tone setter because we've already had tone setter games. It's more of a continue the momentum, continue being kind of proving who you are as a team, kind of showing your flexing who you are. Miami they're 3-0 against their rivals. They've dominated and done all they need to do to be successful. So we got Slug here in the chat. How you doing, Slug?
I'm doing all right, Jade. I'm doing all right. I was in the comment section. I decided to come on for a little minute and mix it up with you.
I appreciate it, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. But Jalen, if this is a close game, that's telling us that the years that Mario done built what we believe to be a dominant team is not it. Because just listen to me. This Florida State team, they got a bunch of holes in it. I give it to them. They beat Alabama, and then they beat 2 high school teams. Kent State got the worst defense in the FBS, and I don't even know who Texas A&M is until they play. Yeah, until they play Florida State. And Miami, we got a bunch of veterans. We're a veteran-led team. We got a bunch of juniors and seniors, and majority of them, the nucleus of this team, was recruited and brought in by Mario Cristobal. This game shouldn't even be close, Jaden.
I agree with you on all the fronts that Miami, talent-wise and overall-wise, are the better team. I 100% agree, and they are. They definitely are. My concern more or less comes from the fact that most rivalry games or most games like these just end up being close. They end up being these really back-and-forth games. The fact that this is Miami's first road game of the season in a hostile environment, I have my little worries there in that aspect. But you're right. FSU has a ton of holes, and they showed it on Friday. You can't really get a good read on them because other than Bama and then a lost UVA, they haven't showed a whole lot. If they have 600 total yards of offense, but when 2 of them are against East Texas A&M and Kent State, that doesn't prove anything to me. So you're 100% right about that, and they've showed they had holes. They showed that against UVA that their defense very porous, they had a lot of mistakes. I just think overall this game could be close just from the fact of who they are as teams. The fact that all these rival games end up being kind of these games that go back and forth or they end up really close because that's just how they are. You are right though. I don't think necessarily though if Miami wins close that they're who we thought they are. I think they can still easily be a playoff contender or make a run in the playoffs if they were to win this game by like 3 points.
Jaden, we don't spend too much money. We don't spend too much money in NIL for this game to be that type of game. We got a 6-year quarterback. That means that he should be in the NFL. So that means that he should know how to personally manage a game. We done had 2 games where the refs done got involved. That was Notre Dame and that was Florida. Both of them games could have been a blowout.
Yeah.
Should have been a blowout.
Fair.
I really personally don't got no grief with the way that Mario went conservative, the way that the refs was playing into the game. Because Florida, that game had supposed to be 20-zip.
Yep.
Then our defense supposed to have their ears pinned up, rushing the passer. And that game would have came out to be a lot different. That would have been a blowout. That would have been every bit of 42 points.
Yeah. They did dominate UF. Other than if that Marty Brown is a touchdown, which it was, if it was called a touchdown, that game is completely different. But it wasn't. UF got a touchdown. Beck throws a pick. It turned into a different game that Miami ended up having full dominance overall over. But you're right.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, I really like when I look at this game, when I focus, and I take off my cane glasses and I look off this game, and I'm not looking at no logos, no nothing. Like Florida State, they got a couple of pieces, but they're not going to have no time to get the ball off to Deuce Robinson because this defensive line is just ridiculous. It's no way that they're going to give him time to get that ball off. The only way that this game is close in Miami right now, I believe that we got the number 25 rush defense, but we don't play high competition. A lot of the teams that got higher run defenses, they don't play trash competition.
Yeah.
So it's nothing that we gonna look over there. We're gonna see a 5'9" quarterback. We're gonna see these running backs that really don't got no breakaway speed. It's not gonna be nothing that's overwhelming. And Miami is legitimately, I watch a lot of college football. Miami is legitimately one of the top 3 teams in college football.
Absolutely. They absolutely are. And they showed that. And they have the resume to prove it. They have the wins to prove it. They have the games to prove it. They have the dominance to prove it. Their offensive line, to me, is the best in the country. Their defensive line is playing like the best in the country. So if they play to the level that they play, if their defensive line and Bain and Mesidor continue to do what they do, FSU's offensive line, I imagine they'll get to them early. I'm sure they're going to get to Castellanos early. The only concern that maybe I would have is the way that FSU was able to run the ball against these first 4 teams. If Miami stops the run, this game's over. Miami takes away an entire aspect of what FSU claims they're built off of. They wouldn't be able to do anything. So for Miami, I think the key to them specifically is stopping the run. You stop the run, this game's all but over. You force Castellanos to make some big throws, and I don't think he'll be able to. With the swarming pass rush, it's going to make everything challenging for them. You're right. I think Miami should handle this game accordingly. They should absolutely handle this game. I just think if this game were to end up close, I'm not going to lose sweat over it. I'm not going to say, oh, this the team is not who they thought they were. That's just all I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be close because
it shouldn't be. You're right.
Tommy is a turnover monster. These last 2 weeks, he done had, I believe, 3 to 4 turnovers.
He had 3 turnovers against UVA last week. Again, this UVA team is not that good. Their defense is awful.
Yeah, and the week before that, he had one against Kent State. He threw an interception.
Yep.
And I really personally don't even see him making it out this game. I'm just keeping it real. Listen to me, Jaden. When you watch this game, it's gonna look similar to the way that we played USF.
Okay.
The way that we handle USF, that's pretty much how this game gonna look.
I can see that because Byron Brown to me reminds me a lot of Tommy Castellanos. They play a lot. They play very similar with the fact that they're almost their first read is to run instead of throw. They love to just go on a lot of these read option plays and run the ball. And if they were to throw it, they're going to throw a lot of deep balls. That's kind of who they've been for the first 4 weeks. If you stop one of them, you force them to go deep, and just having a deep ball is not going to be enough for you. The game could very well end up like a USF game. The game being in Tallahassee, though, could change a lot of things. And then for Beck, I need to see him to show that he'll be better than he looked against UF. I know it was UF. I know it was in the rain. They still had a good team, but he looked pretty bad overall. The 2 picks were not good picks. He didn't have, the receivers were pretty open. He couldn't hit many of them. The run, Tramar Brown was the leading receiver. So I have my concerns in that regard.
Yeah. But we got to understand that they had 2 high safeties last week. Yeah. So, and Florida State don't got the same personnel that the Florida Gators got. Yeah, they got even a worse personnel when it comes to matching up against Miami and the best offensive line in college football. So I just don't see this game being close. I see a lot of the podcasters. I see a lot of Joe Clark. I see a lot of these people just amping up this game. I understand that it's a rival game, but this game ain't going to be close, Jaden. I'm sorry. It's not going to be close. Look, but I got to get back to work. I really enjoy your show, man. Keep up the good work, man. It's going to steady grow, man. And I appreciate you for having me on, Jaden, and go Canes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Go Canes. Thank you. I appreciate Slug for the chat. Got a couple more minutes here. I'll post the link one more time. Anyone else wants to join. I wonder a couple of things. You make a good point, Galaxy King, but it's a good thought about kind of, this is more of an emotional thing that fans kind of go through of, oh, this team lost. They're going to be even hungrier, or they're going to be really even they're going to be desperate for this game. They're going to be desperate to win this game. That's always a narrative that is built that people have. And that's also partly why the spread ends up going lower and lower, or why people will start to bet on FSU or start to look at FSU differently. Like, oh, they're desperate. Oh, they're playing their heart out. They're playing for this. On paper, just looking at this game in itself, Miami should win this game. But it's always a thought to have that. Could there be an extra thing in this game that helps FSU? Is there a little extra emphasis to this game for FSU that would help them or benefit them or anything? Bulletin board material, anything that can give you an edge on something. It's just the narratives that people build or whatever they say. I think them saying, a neutral person saying this game could be close is a very fair point. If FSU beat UVA in double overtime, they're ranked like 6 or 7 in the country, and that just completely changes the way this game looks now. Because they lost, it's now 3 versus 18, and it's like, oh, this game should be a blowout for Miami. Yes and no. Talent-wise and what's on paper, yeah, absolutely. Because of how well the defensive line has played, how well the offensive line has played, the running backs look great. The personnel is significantly better than what FSU has. FSU is Tommy Castellanos and vibes on offense, and defense gave up 46 points to UVA. It was week 1 against Bama. Like, can't really tell. We don't know really. We're gonna see it on Saturday. We can't really predict it all on Saturday until we see it. So I think Miami should win. And again, I think I said it. If they figure out Gus Malzahn pretty early, the game should be a rout. If they can limit Tommy Castellanos in the run the way that they limited Byron Brown in the run against USF, this game should be pretty. Miami should handedly have this game. I think I said it, but FSU has more avenues, significantly less avenues to win this game than Miami. So I think for Miami, it's like, just play to your game, play to your strengths, play to who you are as a team, and you should have this game. You should have this game. But rival, there's always something else to it that we don't know. But just from a very level look at it, Miami has the talent, they have the tools, they have what's on paper. They should win this game. And that's kind of bottom line. Should win this game, period. Go into your bye week again, plan for the rest of the season, which again, terrible scheduling, but neither here nor there. But yeah, seeing that there's nothing else in the chat, I'm gonna go say one more time score prediction. I'll say 27-21 Miami. I think it will be close. There's something about these games that just end up being close. And the fact that it's on the road also hurts. If this game was in Miami, I think Miami wins by 10 points at least. So the FSU crowd has an advantage. They do have it. Like, they're a good crowd. They're a good atmosphere. So that's just something to be aware of, or, but Miami should win this game. If they lose this game, it's not the end of the world, but you want to beat your rivals. You want to look back at the season and say, hey, for the second year in a row, we beat UF and FSU. We won the Florida Cup. We did what we needed to do. And I think that that's an incredible way to look at it. And then this season, saying that they beat, they beat the entire state of Florida again. It's only going to benefit you as a team, benefit you as a program over and over again when you say, we're the best team in Florida, back-to-back years. Let's keep that going. Let's benefit that. I think for Miami, they have everything they need to do to win. We'll see it on Saturday. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really tough environment, a really good game, really awesome crowd, another 7:30 game. So, but yeah, thank you guys for all tuning in. I am going to hop off because I need to watch the Yankee Red Sox game. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm stressing, but thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys on Monday. Me and Shay will be back on the Miami Primetime Live, where we will go over the FSU game and then do a lot of schedule talk for the rest of the season. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time. See you.